Hello, Steve Stokes here, otherwise known as the Foot Tactician, and welcome to my tutorial on how to play the Liverpool way. Before we begin, I just want to let you all know that having previously only worked with pro FIFA players, I've now opened up my coaching services to the general FIFA community. So, whether you're struggling to win the daily knockout or failing to hit the heights at pro tournaments, make sure you check out the link in the description below the video for more details on how to book a personal video coaching session. Okay, so on to the tutorial. Anyone who's watched Liverpool this season will know that their brand of football is one of the most attacking and exciting styles that the game has to offer. Their system relies on having fast players who are capable of quickly closing down space in defence and who can burst past defenders in the attacking phase. The purpose of this tutorial is to give you the information that you'll need in order to set up your own team so that it can play in a similar style. By the end of the video, you'll be able to alternate between dominating possession deep in your opponent's half and quickly transitioning from attack to defence by making the most of bursting runs from your wide midfielders. Although Liverpool are widely held to play a 4-3-3 system, it's misleading to think in terms of teams setting up in a certain formation, then rigidly sticking to it throughout different phases and transitions. When attacking, Liverpool tend to get their wide players forward at pace, with at least one central midfielder supporting the attack, while the other two sit deeper. So to replicate this style of attack, we'll be basing ourselves around a 4-2-3-1-2 that will, throughout different parts of the game, transition into a 4-3-3, a 4-3-2-1, a 4-5-1 and several other shapes. So, the first step we need to take in looking to replicate Jurgen Klopp's system in FIFA is to set up our custom tactics so that they will create the correct amount of speed, pressure and movement that makes the Liverpool system tick. Speed is dialed up all the way to 90 to ensure that when we win the ball deep, our wide midfielders burst forward quickly to support the striker. This will also help us to defend by ensuring that if we lose the ball deep in the opponent's half, we will have plenty of bodies forward to press and attempt to win the ball back. Passing is set to 50, purely to make this system effective in Ultimate Team, and our positioning is organised to stop players switching positions in our own half. Moving on to chance creation, passing is cranked up to 80 to create lots of movement amongst the attackers, who will always be looking to probe the defence with forward runs. Crossing is set to 60 because we want players to take up positions inside the penalty area when the ball's pushed wide. And shooting is kept pretty low at 35 to ensure that we create good chances rather than lots. Defensively, we're going to a very high 90 in pressure. This will keep our backline pushed forward to the halfway line, which will mean that when we have the ball, we can effectively halve the pitch in size and force all of our players inside the opponent's half. This creates plenty of passing options when we're looking to control possession and dominate our opponent, and it also makes it much easier to press and win the ball back when it's lost. Aggression is set to 64, so that players will close down quickly but won't double press and create their defensive holes by doing so. With width set to 57, we can more easily switch play and explore opportunities down both wings, and we'll be employing an offside trap so that our opponent has to time any through balls to his forwards rather than blindly hitting long passes in the hope of launching a counter-attack. Moving on now to the type of personnel that we'll require. Our left back and right back will be good all-round players who are effectively wingers with high defensive statistics. The centre backs will be required to have excellent marking abilities so that they can snuff out any potential counter-attacks by picking up runners and closing gaps. And although it's not essential, pace above 70 is preferential so that they can successfully keep pace with any attackers trying to beat the defensive line. Our left-sided CDM will be a man marker, so naturally he'll need a high man marking stat, but he'll also be getting forward in attacks, so a balanced card is best here. The right CDM is going to cut passing lanes and aggressively seek out interceptions, so I'd recommend height, which gives a much better chance of reaching out to grab passes that are aimed in his direction, He'll also need good interceptions and very high stamina. The left and right midfielders will be fast, both in terms of sprint speed and acceleration, and they'll also be good crossers of the ball who are comfortable finishing moves with either headers or volleys. Moving on to the cam, he's our playmaker, and as such he'll need good short passing and vision. He'll also have good attack positioning, the ability to fire in long shots, and ideally some pace to run at defenders with. The striker needs to be a good all-rounder with high stamina so that he's able to effectively close passing lanes for as long as possible. And at this point it's also important to note that you should have 3 substitutes prepared to replace the right midfielder, the right central defensive midfielder and the striker after approximately 60 minutes of play. Next we move on to player instructions, which for the sake of keeping the video fairly brief I won't talk about in detail. You may wish to pause the video at this point to note the instructions down. With the exception of inform Eric Lamella coming in for Aaron Lennon, the squad that you're seeing is the one that I used while testing this system. In terms of gameplay, this system will create lots of opportunities for counter-attacks. So when you pick the ball up deep inside your own half, look to move it from back to front as quickly as possible before hitting a forward who's attempting to beat the defensive line. And in exactly the same way that Liverpool do in real life, we also need to exploit the overlapping fullbacks who can get behind the defence out wide and then pull the ball back for simple goals. Defensively, although we'll always look to contain our opponent in our own half, we can afford to be incredibly aggressive at the other end. Pressuring our opponent in this area will create lots of openings for our forwards to capitalise on. In summary then, we must always look to play like Liverpool and above all else, look to take advantage of the devastating pace and positioning of our front 3. If you found this video useful, please leave a like, and if you'd like to catch more tutorials on this channel, please click subscribe. Until next time, I hope you'll have lots of fun playing the Liverpool way. Bye!